So there we go, 22-12. The Aussies get a well-deserved victory in the third test. I mean, sure, the series had gone, but, they came back with a big performance. Would the Lions have played better if the series was on the line? Well, we'll never know, but definitely 2-1 feels about right for this tour. And Australia, when they're at full bore, when they're playing that well, then absolutely they are a top team, and that is good to see as well. Again, apologies for the croaky voice. I'm just coming back from illness, but watching this game definitely picked me up, that's for sure, because it was competitive. It was just a fight in the rain, so I quite like that. Sometimes it's good just to have a big fight like that, and the team that wants it more, that old classic, they win. Plus the execution in the wet was better from Australia. One thing that might be finishing is the 45% off manual testosterone testing kits. We'll see how well that's gone during the Lions, but if you want that, do use that code RugbyAnalyst45. New customers already get 30% but 45 is a bit more, so do use that if you want to. I'm going to go through the game, analyse it, talk about the players, and then give some scores at the end, because I'll talk about all the players during the analysis of the game itself. So let's talk about the first half, and the Lions just can't get anything going in attack. Of course, it's wet play, but Australia do it a lot better. I mean, the Lions' first attack, Curry slips over, they concede a penalty, Australia go the other end, and just smart wet weather play, tight passes, keep hold of the ball, and then finally when they go wide, Soalihi does great work and stands up Gibson Park, sucks in Freeman, and Peach is free for the try. Perfect wet weather try with some classy execution from Soalihi, so that is 5-0 straight away. But the Lions do have a decent chance on 12 minutes to do the same to Australia, and they retain the ball a bit, but Peach absolutely steps in and destroys Freeman in the tackle. Really impressive, and gives a base for Erectile and the right to Jackal. And then Conan and Keenan fumble on the next phase, and the rain beats down, but the Australians are doing it that bit better. The kicking duel for both sides, trying to look for the mistake, but the Lions are not winning that one either. It takes 20 minutes for the Lions to get another good launch play, and it's a good line out long to the back from Sheehan in wet conditions. Impressive, spot on, goes to Wacky, is looking all good for a nice launch play, but he carries far too high and he gets held up by the likes of Hooper and McWright, so that's really good play again from Australia, but too high from Aki. He did make some good carries, but that one wasn't so good. And then we get some scrums in which Porter does indeed look like he's going in on the angle, like 45 degrees in. I'm no scrummaging expert, but you guys tell me that that is what Porter does, and he definitely gets pinged a couple of times here as Tupu and Skelton go right through him. They get a big penalty from the first one there, and then largely the Lions are just defending for the rest of the half. Curry, some big dominant tackles, Byrne gets in on there as well with a good jackal, so it's some decent defence, and we also see the first signs of some scuffles as the Australians are so fired up, maybe too fired up. Skelton really getting over the top maybe, and they concede a penalty and extra 10 metres. Nick White involved in everything, playing really well, but also doing his classic wind-up game. He's very good at that. And off that penalty, the Lions get another chance for a launch play, but this time Finn Russell just takes his eyes completely off the ball and drops it cold. So everything the Lions are trying to get going isn't working, and the Australians are definitely on top. As 5 minutes later, they fold the Lions scrum up yet again, and they get the offloading game going, which is very impressive for Australia in the wet. So they're looking really good, going short off 9, and then a little bit of nice handling as well. And a big decision. They've got a penalty, surely it's 3 points, but they go to the corner. Can they get another score? No. Good defence from the Lions, really good joined up maul defence, really stopped the Australians going anywhere. That's impressive. But then on the exit, Aki knocks on, and Australia have another chance 5 metres out with a scrum, but then some dominant tackling from the Lions forces Australia back 15 metres. So it wasn't a disaster first half defensively for the Lions, it's just they couldn't get anything going in attack, and when it's this wet, you just have to. Australia, again, soft hands, so good in the wet. So Alihi heavily involved once again with that, win another penalty, and this time decide to take the point, which is a good call there. So 8-0 for a deserved lead. The Dan Sheehan line-out, which has been going so well on this tour, just starts to malfunction a bit. A really bad one where he and Conan get their timing all over the place, but luckily they get a knock-on, and then a ballsy call from Finn Russell. They could kick a penalty, but they quick tap it and actually get some good go forward. Their best attack of the game. They build up to 8 phases, and then Sheehan unfortunately misses a clear out, goes past it, has to come in on the angle and gives away a penalty. So the first time they were building, They then concede another penalty, so it really isn't going the Lions' way in attack at all. Freeman's off for blood as well, Farrell's on, which seems maybe a good call anyway in the wet. We can see the Lions desperately trying to get the rush defence and get something going that way. Tom Curry, who's made some big dominant hits when he's static, is getting stepped a bit easy though on the rush, so that's not quite happening. And the Australians see out the half very comfortably. We also have a Toje off with an HIA, which is permanent, so she ends the captain. So there's definitely a bit of a need for the Lions to reset here, as Australia looking good, a score ahead, beyond a converted try, which is important, especially in these conditions. Just after half time, we can see the Lions are deciding to kick a lot more, as their drops, their mistakes weren't helping them as they try to run the ball. So kicking a lot more, but Russell's first kick, too high, too long. Nick White pretty much spot on, and there's a good win back by Australia off one of his, and there's lots of aggro again. Curry's involved, Nick White's involved, and on the bottom of it, poor James Ryan has copped a knee from Skelton. He's out cold. I really hope he's okay, as they spent a lot of time on him. And as the game gets really fiery, so does the sky, and the players have to leave the pitch for lightning. Then immediately after the break, it looks like Australia are in. Brilliant play from Skelton, who puts through Taniela Tupu. He is clean through, but just drops it for no reason, and just in a flash the Lions are back the other end. So it does look like the Lions might take the first scout, but no, 2 lineouts in a row lost by the lineouts. I mean, the Australian lineout, Frost in particular, was fantastic, but definitely the lineout fell apart quite a lot in this game. And also some weird attack from the Lions as well. They're trying to shovel the ball wide. It's wet. They're doing it deep in their own half. It seems weird when the game is still there. It's still only 8-0, and they're just shoveling it wide, and they get caught a few times. Russell, Farrell trying to move the ball wide. It is not working. On 49 minutes, it looks like Russell has worked Hugh Jones into space with a really nice crossfield kick. It looks like it's absolutely on, but Jones just kicks it straight into touch with his own chip kick. So some poor skills there from Jones. The centres really didn't have a good game. Tom Curry, who tackled like an absolute train all game once again, spots the balls out of a ruck, gets a good turnover, and finally Sheehan hits his man in a line out, and it looks like it's going to be a good build up. But for the second time in the game, Aki carries too high and gets stripped for something that's meant to be a super strength. Not particularly good in this game. Keenan takes a good couple of high balls in this game, but for the second time they force the ball wide. Kinghorn with the last pass, really poor pass as he shovels it onto Aki, who for some reason is in front of the play. No idea what's going on there. Bad from Aki. Kinghorn shouldn't have given him the ball. And just to make it worse, Jorgensen is there to hoover up and go and score. So it is 15-0. That is the killer blow there. And the Lions, that sloppy attack after the break, I think really was to blame for that try getting away. But really Australia deserved the win, but still weird attack from the Lions, compounded on the next attack where Farrell does a loop to Russell. It's nowhere near, and they lose the ball. So really don't know what was going on there. With 20 minutes to go, the Lions have to get back into the game. There's a fumble from Tom Wright in the air, but Aki drops it. That's the first one gone there. But a couple of minutes later, they do get a try. There's time for a couple more mistakes for the Lions in attack. Aki fumbles the ball as it comes to him off Tom Wright for a good counter-attack chance. And then they go for a chip play with Russell grubbering the ball in behind. Farrell's nowhere near it. The grubber's too long. Aki seems to be in front of the ball once again, so it seems a bit of a mess. But Kinghorn takes a second really good high ball, and the Lions get into the attack, into Australia's 22. The forwards just grinding away as they should, winning a penalty. They go for a tap penalty, more grind, some good carries from Genge from Morgan, and finally Morgan himself is driven over with the help of a big latch from Ollie Chesham. So do we have a game back on? 20 minutes to go, 15-7. So at that point, actually, the Lions could get back in it. But unfortunately, a few minutes later, a big mistake from Keenan, who kicks the ball straight out when it was taken back to the 22. That means the Australians can get back onto the attack, and they get some penalties. An inevitable yellow for the Lions as they start to just leak penalties. And after some strong, tight carries, it's replacement scrum half McDermott, who's super sharp. The Lions don't have their ruck guard in place in time, and he ducks and weaves and stretches to score. Good try from McDermott, and surely that's the game now in these conditions. With 8 minutes to go, the Lions simply have to score straight away, but big double tackle from Jorgensen and Suolihi forces an offload from Sheehan. but somehow they get a line out from it, but the Australians steal the ball, then they bash Kinghorn into touch, then they jackal Mitchell as the Lions line out just lets the Australians pour through. So just too many mistakes for the Lions to deserve to win, that's for sure. The Lions, however, do get the last try, which gives something for the fans to cheer about. Ben Earl with his trademark carries in midfield, 2 good breaks, Russell a lovely delayed pass for the second. Then Earl is taken out off the ball. They go to a 5-metre line out and Stewart does muscle over. So it is a try, 22-12, but the game was gone by then. The Lions really not on it today. Would they have been more focused if the tour was on the line? Well, we don't know, but Australia absolutely brilliant in those conditions. Well done to them, but they have lost the series. I've pretty much mentioned every player, so I'm not going to go over all the players once again, but not the best day at the office for some of these guys. Sheehan obviously didn't go very well in the line out. I thought Curry's defence was still very good, but the Lions midfield I thought was pretty off today, didn't offer a lot. Kinghorn couldn't get into the game as he was coming into this side, so really not great, but some big defence, some big heart as well, but execution is not there. And then that period of really weird attack after the lightning break. So my scores on the side, do pause, have a look, let me know if you agree or disagree, and thank you so much for watching for this whole series. Hopefully I'll get my voice back soon. If you have been watching my videos and you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you did. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.